Talk about a massive white elephant. Talk about a laughing stock.
Mm.
Soon people will be ashamed to call themselves British if this behaviour carries on for much longer. The British government is insisting in pushing a project ahead by lying about the cost, already being almost three times the estimate so far, for half as much that was promised, which will be made obsolete when it is complete, which nobody wanted in the first place.
Mm.
I'm sure that after the fact there will be held inquiries about the corruption involved during the process, and of course, at the end of the very lengthy inquiry, everybody walks away with money in their pockets, as free as a bird, with not a single occupancy in a prison cell being filled. Right? That was my blurb. Right.
Yeah.
So let's get on to the meat and two veg now.
Yes. I know what's coming.
Of course, I'm on about HS2, the biggest scandal in infrastructure projects probably in UK history. On Tuesday, Transport Secretary Heidi Alexander told the Commons that the HS2 cost will rise to £103 billion. What she didn't say is that the amount she declared didn't take into account the additional for inflation, which would add another £10 billion on the bid, on the bill rather.
Yeah.
Of course, this doesn't of course, this doesn't seem a lot when you talk about other people's money. The project initially planned to go as far as Manchester and I believe Leeds on the other side of the Pennines, and it's been reduced only to go as far as Birmingham,
Mm.
which would only save 15 minutes travelling time if the train travelled from London to the Midlands capital.
Yeah.
But now it may not even do that, as the top speed of the train that will use the track has been reduced from 224 miles per hour to only 199 miles per hour. So that could eliminate you 15 minutes. Take into account delays of service, you know,
Yeah.
on the platform, the train leaving platform 3 has been delayed by.
Yeah.
It might take more time than the slow trains going to the same destination. Uh, Cynically, the CEO of the operation, Mark Wilde, who himself gets £600,000 a year to preside on this disaster, he said it was terrible news
Yes.
that the cost to complete the project over the last 5 years has doubled. You you add on to all of that the news that HS2 will be delayed by a further 4 years, initially being stated as to be finished in 2039, will now have to wait till 2043 if it wants the service to begin at London Euston.
Yeah.
The service doesn't even start at London Euston as yet. It hadn't even started. Let's be
No, no,
fair.
no, but it doesn't go there yet. Yeah. Yeah.
So to give you an idea, the Channel Tunnel, that the tunnel
Channel. Yeah.
from Paris to London, cost, including for inflation, £12 billion of today's money.
Mm.
If it was all actualized for today's
Yeah.
money, 12 billion. The Artemis 2 project is 72.2 billion. Yes, folks, to go to the moon is cheaper than going to Birmingham by train.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And all this expense for a project which nobody wanted in the first place, but was insisted on by the lobby groups because they know best, must put the UK on the same level as any South American country.
Yes.
Take your pick. The British Parliament showing us what is not great in Britain once again.
Right. Okay. Well, as I said before, I did work in the industry for many, many years. Last time I was in the UK working in the industry, there was a lot of cynicism amongst my colleagues around me about HS2, what purpose it would serve, the cost. Yeah. Um, Even the requirement, and this was people in Birmingham, couldn't really see a necessity of it to go from London to Birmingham. Yeah. Um, I mean, yes, maybe. I mean, I always said better links up north. Yeah, and I think that's where the improvements could be. So between Birmingham, Manchester, Liverpool, Newcastle, I think that's where the improvement should be. Um, I come from London, and I'm not going to be London centric, but it's a yes. You've called it a white elephant. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, in today's age, obviously we had a very good railway infrastructure across the UK at one point anyway, with feeder lines and everything else. Railways provide a social need still, probably for transport, joined up infrastructure, as it were. Um, I've never seen HS2 as any real benefit, only as a prestige project. It kept changing its needs. One minute it was passenger, the next day we need it for freight. Yes, I do know that maybe the lines are close to overcapacity as exists. But like you say, putting a fast line between London and Birmingham, or just outside London and Birmingham, what's it, Old Oak, um, isn't going to solve many problems. How many? I mean, okay, the trains can be full up at times. Um, I've heard this described as a rich man's railway, the cost of travelling there. Um, yeah, I don't know if there's any.
No, no, it's going to be a very rich man's railway,
Yeah.
which
Um,
I doubt anybody will use, by the way.
well, that's the big question. I mean, I think people will use it depending on pricing and things, and yeah, who will use it?
Depending on
Who really needs to get from London to Brighton, London to Birmingham into whatever it is? I mean, I used to do that travel quite a bit, and yeah, I used to. It's sufferable. Um, if it's probably still going to be cheaper that you travel up on a conventional train the night before and book into a local hotel if they're not full of other people, that is. But yeah. So but um so yeah, is there a need for it? And that's the question. I mean, if you're so urgent, you could probably fly from London City Airport to Birmingham Airport. I don't know if there's any flights there without checking.
Yep, yep,
Um,
yep, yep.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I love railways, as you know. I like them and everything, but there's got to be necessity for them. 200 years ago, they were a
I think
revolution.
I think if you are I think if you are a CEO of a company that has to arrive in Birmingham 15 minutes before the regular train does, you need to be there
Yeah,
15 minutes before the regular train does.
yeah.
Then you're not a very good CEO.
I mean,
You
ultimately,
should have managed time better.
yeah. I know there's nothing like meeting people in person, but in today's world, also, like we're doing here.
But for the 15, yeah, but I'm not talking about going there to meet somebody in person.
Yeah,
I'm talking about going there and arriving 15 minutes
yeah.
sooner.
Well, I I saw a video this week about another train company, and if you arrive at your your departure train station early for £5, they'll let you catch a catch an earlier train anyway. Yeah. Um, so yeah, you begin to wonder what this was all about, and yes, who was making what money? I'm not suggesting the politicians are doing anything, but who was actually making any money from it at all? Um, I've heard more than yeah online, but other things about um, how much money is being lost by local mismanagement of materials, staff, and
It
everything else.
it
Yeah.
isn't it yeah well, Mark, it isn't mismanagement, sir. It's big pockets on people's trousers.
Well, far be it from me to make any accusations about anyone. There has to, like you said, if there is an inquiry, what would it find? And you know, I
What are you going to do? Arrest everybody on the project?
well, they'll find one person, somebody pushes a wheelbarrow who's probably done 2 hours overtime and or claimed for 2 hours overtime and not been there. They'll be the person.
And
He's the
didn't do it.
person responsible. Yeah.